in the grand scheme of just starting things like Geek Tank was, I'm starting things tonight just because it was funny and stupid. And, sometimes that's great. It's what you should do with life. I'm just saying. See what I got going on over here? Looks good. Yeah. And then we should be good with everything else. I don't know, I'll just copy this, I think, and paste it there. Yeah. I feel like my child is still awake. It's a sound, one that I'm very familiar with. The sound of my child still being awake. Could this be my child still awake? Possibly. Going to go to music. Let's see here. What are we doing here? I'm just looking through all these things like, See, my child is awake. Yep. Beep. So, I am doing as we thought we'd do here. There you go. Give it a second. We're going to have to sit here and wait for the exporter to export so we can sit here and just stare at each other. See how long it takes to. Wow, thinks it's going to take 15 minutes to export this. It's a long time. To clear this video. It's a long time. That's all right. It's worth it. It's worth it, guys. It's worth it. I don't know. I'm waiting for this thing to export. And so are you. Yep, it's how y'all are. Doing good out there? Me too. Earlier today we did. There you are, Brent. I live. That's a StarCraft joke. You only get that if you play StarCraft. Oh, yeah. That's fine. There was a video already on deck to be edited and cut up, and it was already cut up. All I had to do was just export it, but it took time. You weren't here this morning, were you? For this anyway, which is fine. But yeah, the idea was, what if we had an anthropologist who has been going through time? You know, she'll stop, study the unity, then get into her spaceship and travel at light speed for, a couple of days. And when she drops off out of light speed, she's jumped 50 years. Tell me secrets secrets to a happy life. That's a interesting question. Let's see. Everybody has a moment. And as long as you keep in mind that we all make a mistake somewhere along the line, and if somebody... Oh, wait. You know what I've got to tell you? 90% of the time, somebody is trying to do the right thing. Only 10% of the time do people actually do wrong or mischievous or evil things. But we have a bias that makes us remember it. So as long as you remember that 90% of us are doing the very best that we can all the time, life will be a whole lot easier for you. Lots of beer. And Brent says lots of beer. Yeah, that's something that's kind of important. I'm living by that now. Working really hard to live by that. Somebody cuts you off, probably was their error. Just made a mistake. Just blipped it. Thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful day. You can stay here. We're going to be doing work, sort of, when Premiere gets over doing its output thing, which isn't now. We're still outputting over there. So there we go. Let's see what else we got. I'm trying to find, there was a picture that I had found once where they took, I can't remember what it was, but I know I saved it. And all I got to do is just find it. I saved it somewhere. Okay. We'll be here. We'll be here. Do what you need to do, my friend. This is a body doubling podcast or stream where I do work and other people who need to get work done can join me. And then we all just kind of encourage each other to keep working. Stay on target. Get that job done. So, could be fun. You are welcome here anytime. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Yeah, kind of wish I had had that when I was younger. There's a lot of stuff out there when I was younger where it would have helped me a whole lot. So I'll help other people. They get moving, kind of, it helps them move forward. That's always good. Always good. Still can't find that picture I'm looking for. And Premiere is still rendering. It's got a little progress bar at the bottom. It's kind of cool, actually. My icon down here, the icon that's registering Premiere, has a little progress bar going across there, so I can see how far across it is when it's rendering out. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's working. It's working. It's working. Kind of moving along. It's not working very fast, but it's working. Hey, Merrick. Haven't seen you in a while. How's things going in your world? This is a little bit more complicated than I thought. Did I hide it from myself? I probably hid it from myself. That makes total sense for me to hide it from myself. This is important. I will therefore put it somewhere safe where I will never find it again. Just saying, that's me. This is asking for it. Oh no. Sounds horrible, actually. Oh, yeah. Well, that's fair. That's fair. We had a backed up toilet. That was not cool. Just saying. Still waiting. We were waiting for Premiere to clear out a job that it was in, working on before. So it's taken up a lot of time for it to do it, but it's getting there slowly. Meanwhile, I was trying to think of what kind of ship we'd be dealing with Kylie. I know the ship's name. The ship's name is A New Dawn, and that's cool. So it's kind of working that little problem. But it's over here doing its thing. And it's rendering out, and that just makes it so we have to kind of sit here and hang till it's done doing its thing. So I've decided to go wandering around and see what things we have here. Kind of looking out on the cleaning up stuff and doing some work, policing some things. Hey, Colton. Sort of making art. I mean, I started making art, but now I'm waiting for Premiere to finish premiering. And so, there's that. How you doing, Colton? Yeah. Right? It's not like it's awesome. It is Premiere. It is what it is. I did have Pepper on this morning. Drawing for school. Yeah. Well, I'm only on for 30 more minutes because I got to get on the train tomorrow to go to school. Because tomorrow is my long day. And it is markedly easier for me to just take the train in there, and then I don't have to pay for parking, and I don't have to deal with anything. And it's just super cheap. So we sit here and we wait for rendering to be done. But no matter what happens, just so you guys are aware, I will have to be moving on pretty quickly at 11 o'clock tonight. So I'll be clearing the stream by 11. Oh, gosh, I feel like I'm already ready to go to sleep too. I had Pepper. It was awesome. Right? He was here. He hung out. Just a wonderful thing to have around. Pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Gonna say. So, yeah. Yep, I'm in my first semester there, Colton. Yeah, I know, right? But I am actually really rather enjoying it. It is so much fun. I caught my professor as he was leaving the class, and was talking to him about anthropology and being an anthropologist on a site, and how to take field notes and things like that, and just really cool because I was just like, huh, this is really cool. So, and he was so willing to talk to me and chat and discuss this, and he's an interesting teacher anyway, so that was kind of cool. I was just excited. So there you go. It's working pretty well. So anyway, that's where we are on that one. Yeah, yep. Yep. Oh, I found my Mech Titan token. This is cool. When it loads. Yep. That was pretty cool. I like that card. Can't knock it. That's pretty cool. I was pretty proud of that Voltron. I'm just saying, that was a pretty good picture of Voltron I worked on there. Considering where I was when I first drew Voltron some 40 years ago, figured this actually turned out pretty cool. Someday, I will pull this card out somewhere along the game. I swear I will. And when I do, I shall have this card ready. So there you go. My Mech Titan card. I love Mech. I just love the idea of the fact that Mech Titan really effectively is Voltron. That just cracks me up. If you're wondering, here's the actual original art. Which I think works really cool too. Super dynamic. I think it's a little bent, just a little bit though. I feel like it might need to adjust a little, but when it comes to mecha, I'm all about mecha in general. Are we still rendering out? Yep, still rendering out. Still rendering out. I'm over here kind of just looking at things, and I don't know. Wondering if I'm going to even finish this in time for me to not have to kill this stream off. I'm like, by the time Premiere finishes doing all of its things, yep. Anyway, I'm trying to think of what else to go on here. So, anyway, Colton's out there doing homework. I'm waiting for Premiere to finish its little job. Can't seem to find the picture I was looking for. It's kind of a bummer. That's all right. I mean, it's not like it's that critical, but still. It'd be cool if I could find it. You're almost halfway done with this project, huh? Oh, there they are. Let's first move them over. so I don't have to do this again. Oh, dude. I have totally fallen in love with a new artist, speaking of sketching, who does a very interesting way of sketching people where he starts with like the skull. I mean, it's a stylized skull, but still, it's kind of like. It's very stylized. I'm looking to see if I can find his account. No, Chom Mang, CHOMMANG. But his style's interesting because it does seem like it's kind of stuck. But hey, you do you. Here, I'll show you. So you can kind of see. It's a little hard to see, but you can kind of see. He starts with like a modified skull effect, and like that. So then he brings in the eyes inside the center there, and brings in the hair. I feel like you're just not working with me here. Work with me. Work with me. The camera does not want to work with me. You know what? Maybe I can find him on a browser. Since we're still waiting, I'm just saying we're waiting for this to go do its thing. Yeah, well, I'll find it for you because I mean we're waiting for Premiere to stop being stupid. So it's going to take some time here for Premiere to stop being stupid. Man, we're really having problems. I don't know, something's bogged my entire system down. Never mind. We're getting there. Something has really bogged the system down. It's encoding the sequence as part of the problem, I think. Okay, that's enough of that, I think. Yeah, it's all good. It's I was really just going to bring it up as something to just talk about, you know, while we wait for Premiere. It's encoding it now, the video. So part of the problem is this. We at the driving school, we have a couple of videos that we show. Actually, we have quite a few videos that we show at our driving school. I can't air those. So there's a reason why I can't put those on my Premiere. I can't show you guys that. I can show you the animations that I'm working on, but not the movies. So that's why I'm being somewhat cagey about this, is because I've got to roll that movie out. All I was doing with the movie was cutting off the front and the end, which had, just a little bit of junk on either side. So I wasn't doing a whole lot, but boy, Premiere is really freaking out over it. So, there's that. Tomorrow morning, I will be getting a 16 terabyte external. So I'll be able to move and offload a whole bunch of stuff onto it, and that'll help gain space, because right now I'm down to about a little over 5 gigs of space on my 6 terabyte drive, and so it's getting choked up a lot over there. So anyway, yeah, really all I was going to do is just talk about it because it's kind of cool. But that's the reason why I can't bring it up and put it up on screen, is because I can't re-show it. I'll get hit with copyright violations and stuff. Probably even copyright violations inside our company. And that just wouldn't be any fun. Who wants that, right? Right? Who wants to? Oh, you need to start looking for a new tablet? That's not cool. What's the story? Your tablet biting the bullet? No. Yeah. My tablet still runs really well. My XP Pen seems to do the job just fine. And we're at 4 years on this XP Pen since I bought it, so I don't need to replace it right now, knock on wood. Oh, your travel tablet? Yeah, I just still carry around that old Surface. It surfaced me well. Anyway. Yeah, and I think that's the big thing here, is that on the PC, it's a monitor. Wow, for a 15-minute, it said it was going to take 15 minutes to export this. It took 41. Premiere, you just have zero clue, do you? I swear. So, yeah, I'm really annoyed with Adobe. I'm annoyed with Clip Studio right now, because Clip Studio is making it really hard to run on both machines, and they really, really, really want me to pay $300 for each copy, and I'm not doing it. And so when they first upgraded to 2.0, they said that it was one of those things where they were like, well, when you upgrade to 2.0, it'll have all the same rules as 1.0. Well, it didn't. You can only have one machine running. with the 2.0 installation. So there's no more using two machines. You have to buy two copies in order for it to run on the other machine. And so I was trying to downgrade it on my other machine, but it won't downgrade because my serial number is now no longer good because I upgraded it to 2.0. So I've been trying to deal with tech support, and so they're just useless. So I ended up uninstalling Clip Studio from my Surface and installing frickin' Photoshop again. So now I'm back to using Photoshop. And it's like, just ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that, but it is. It's just like, I just got an email from Disney Plus saying, yeah, we liked what Netflix did by making it so you cannot have anybody but your household using our thing. So we're going to do the same thing. I was like, oh, that's nice. There you go. That's the way to do it. So, shrug. It's not going to be long before Paramount does that and everybody else does that. And they're all going to be doing it. And then we'll be out there doing that whole thing with Paramount and with everything doing that stuff. All right. 100 years ago, when AI was still not horrible, I asked AI to make birds of prey, a bird of prey in watercolor mode. And this is what it came up with. Not that one, this one and this one. And though that wasn't what I was after, I was just trying to prove a point. I really liked some of the designs that it sort of came up with. So I'm going to do some kind of modification of this design. That's kind of what I was looking at. I saved it because I was like, okay, that wasn't what I was after, but I dig it. So we'll sketch that in real quickly here, and then I'll call it a day. That's a design nobody's seen in a long time. Someday I'm going to have to build this model, and I know it. This ship comes from an era where practicality was not the primary drive on spacecraft. Where beauty was allowed to be involved too. Found out from my professor today that there's a lot of cultural anthropology being used in science fiction. Not used in science fiction like science fiction using anthropology, but anthropologists studying science fiction. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. Kind of into that plan quite a bit. I was fascinated by that. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, but so yeah, well, that's the thing is right. I mean, that's what I was saying to. That's what I was asking him. I was like, hey, if you think about the world of Star Trek, not just the Trekkies, which is a fascinating subculture in and of itself, but studying, say, the Federation, you know, in universe studying it. It'd be fascinating, I think. Yep, especially the Temerians. Ah, Sokoth, his eyes opened. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, The Expanse is another one where there's a cultural fascinating thing about culture. I think that this ship might even be able to take atmospheric flight and go into the atmosphere. We'd have to redo this wing a little bit more so that it's not quite so. There we go. Yeah. But this started because I've built so much world in here. There's so much like vivid world and just
5 minutes remain.
and we're at the 5 minute warning. So much vivid world here that I was like, so much of this is just going to never be used because it's not viable to use in the comic. And I was like, that's such a waste. So I woke up in the middle of the night a couple of nights ago and thought, well, what if there was a cultural anthropologist in my story? And she just travels around and does field notes on sections of my story. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I get to practice field notes, which is something I need to practice anyway. And there would be sort of like a Cimmerillion in a way, just a whole bunch of side stories that about just what's going on in the culture and things like that. It's interesting. My archaeology professor had said that anthropology is all about storytelling. And I was like, this I can get behind. You know what I mean? Like, I can get behind that theory. All right. Doesn't look anything like the original picture anymore, but I was able to take the original picture and get glean sort of my own version of it now. I like this version. This ship's called the New Dawn. And what's very interesting about this is from a story I wrote in ninth grade. And she was the main character of the story in ninth grade. And as time went on, that story was, it wasn't anything to write home about. It was my first story, no problem. But I just recently found that my father had a copy of it that he'd printed out on a dot matrix printer and had kept in one of the boxes as I was going through some of the boxes of his stuff. And he had a copy of my first book that I ever wrote. And I was so stunned, It's like, I can't believe he kept a copy of it. And he did, and it was cool. It's interesting because my dad was never not supportive of me, but he did want me to figure out some way to make a living with my life, as opposed to being an artist, which is never going to make a living, And he was never down on me for that. He just was like, make sure you've got some plan B. But it was weird because I feel like he was doing something similar to what I'm doing with my kid, which is, I love what you're doing, but you need to do your school. You need to do your schoolwork. This is great. All of that's very cool, but you need to do your schoolwork. And he spent a lot of time, so much so that I think kind of gave me the impression that he didn't care as much. Which, of course, intellectually I knew he cared. That was silly, But intellectually is a little different than what goes through your child brain or whatever. So yeah, I was kind of glad to see that he'd kept a copy of my novel, especially since I had not kept a copy of that novel. So just recently I got to revisit this character, and she's flat. It's what you'd expect from a ninth grader. She's got no real depth It was me trying to write flowery and make words that seemed like what I had read in books. And so, but she had no character. She just was very pretty, and that was it. You know, that was pretty much the extent of it. But I was in ninth grade, you know. So now I'm bringing her back, and the ship in that story was called the New Dawn, but I didn't describe it. So I have no idea what it looked like. So this is just as good as any. This version of it here will work just fine. So that'll be the ship, but I'll still use it as the New Dawn. And that's a thing. So I'm bringing her back as a cultural anthropologist. I don't even know what she was supposed to be in the original book. She was just somebody who ran into the main character, and they both kind of got into an adventure with a spaceship that involved a cat thing, so that there was a cute animal because I liked cats. So it was like a cat. It's just like it doesn't even make sense. Not like I expected a whole lot out of it. But we've kept this going, and now we've got Kylie, and she's here, and she'll be my cultural anthropologist who will go through and make field notes on the Unity and all of that stuff. It'll be fascinating. And I will probably release all these field notes to people who care, all three of them. So, because I don't think anybody's going to really want to read an anthropologist's field notes. But that's all right. You never know. No one knows for sure. Either way, it's 11:02, and I'll need to roll along because tomorrow morning I'm getting up at dark 30 so that I can go to school because I've got to be on a train at 7. So off I go for being on a train. So either way, I will see you all later. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. And again, I won't have a day show tomorrow. I'll have an evening show, but not a day show. And I will talk to you later. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye bye.